What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Elijah from Breck Latney On Air. Today, we have our guest, EDM artist / DJ, Felium. Introduce yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, so my name is Felium, as you said. I'm an EDM artist, meaning I make EDM music, melodic EDM, but I also love to work with many different artists from different genres and kind of like blend our genres together, right? That's my whole I love basically working with artists from the pop scene, the hip hop scene, and different subgenres within EDM, because EDM is super wide, right? And I have a lot of roots in melodic house, right? I'm from Barcelona originally, so I was born with a Europe house sound, and I've always been listening to house music. So I love combining that melodic and easygoing, feel good house music with elements from different genres. So that's kind of like my introduction in terms of my direction musically. But I'm a super creative guy, so I'm always working on different projects within the music industry. I guess we'll talk about more later in the interview. Also in terms of performance, I love DJing live, playing for a crowd and kind of like sensing the vibe of a room and partying with my friends. I guess that's also why I love to be a DJ. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this more and expand on it.
So you talked about being a DJ. So how did you actually start making music? Were you a DJ first and you started actually creating music yourself? Second, how did that process go?
So I actually started making music first, but really quickly after that, I still started getting interested into DJing. So I started making music first because in high school I got my computer, right, my first MacBook, my computer, and I saw GarageBand, right, and I was like, what's this cool free program, So I started playing around with GarageBand. Have you heard of GarageBand?
Yes, yeah, that was my first DAW.
Your iPad on your phone. Back then, it wasn't on your phone or your iPad, and I didn't even have an iPhone. But I started playing around on it on my my MacBook, GarageBand, and I started even I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what genres were. Obviously, I was listening to a lot of music back then. I've always been a musical kid. Since grade school, I've been playing piano, guitar, and drums.
Oh wow!
My parents always wanted me to learn music, and they say it helps develop your brain, makes you playing instruments helps you grow up as a kid. So my parents kind of pushed me to do that, and I loved it. So for me, it wasn't a problem. So yeah, that's kind of how I started into music. But then making music, as I told you, GarageBand, playing around, and then I've always loved the first of all, I always love the electronic music community. I feel like it's one of the best communities within a genre. Hip hop community is also good for any hip hop lovers out there, but I personally really connected with electronic music. So the community, also the sound, electronic music is so much about feeling good. It's feel good music, dance music, kind of spreading positive vibes, right? So
yeah.
I really like that. I'm generally a happy person. They say you should portray yourself through your music, right? And a lot of people that make sad music usually have gone through a lot of stuff in their life, and they kind of express that. For me, I've had a happy life, I'm a social guy. I like to hang out with my friends, so that kind of portrays in my music. That's why I make feel good and music. So that's kind of what I was leaning towards. And then after I got more serious, I went into Logic Pro. That's the bigger version of GarageBand. And I know we're going to talk about DAWs later, but yeah, that's how I got into making music for seriously. And then as soon as I started getting into EDM, I was like, okay, what's this DJing thing? You can play music live. At the beginning, I thought DJing was basically making music live. And I didn't really know what DJing was. But then I got into it. I got my first super small controller and started, transitioning in between songs. And then I always had so much fun, making a beat and then DJing it. So that's how I started with the whole process. And from then it only, yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say
that. From then it only went out. It only went more. I got super interested on it. Then I did I went to some I did some online courses, some online school stuff to learn more, and just started getting super interested, meeting more artists, learning more, getting super into the industry, and until today, I'm still learning today, and I'm still following that same path.
Yeah, man, cool. So did you learn pretty much everything you learned about not just creating music, but producing music on a DAW and stuff did you learn how to program and create music all on your own, or did you go to school? Or
no, so both. So I started on my own. Right? Everyone. Some people started with directing on school. No, I started on my own because I didn't want to invest money or my parents' money on something that I didn't know I liked. So started on my own. And then when I was really interested in it, I was like, you know, hey, like my parents and my dad have always been super supportive in that sense. So I've always had the freedom of asking them like, hey, can I do this summer program at this like electronic music school? And then that's the first like class that I did within electronic music. And then I went into this place, and yeah, I learned DJing and like production in like a 1 month electronic music summer program, right? That's the first thing that I got into. And then through high school, I was like, looking back, I was actually my friend listening to some of the music that I made back then, and I was like, it was so bad. but at that time, I was pumped. I was like, I like this. And looking back, I've gone a long way, but it kept me going. And when I was deciding what to do in college, I'm currently in college. When I was deciding what to do in college, I was like, okay, like, what should I study? I didn't really know where to go. And then I found a really good like music and technology program at the college that I'm in right now.
Okay.
And so I decided to like fully decide like, hey, like music is what I want to do in my life. So I'm going to pursue a music and technology, like an audio engineering program and try and you see, and making music my life. And I want to be in the industry. So right now I'm in college for music. I'm basically doing like a lot of like music, but also technology based. So like a lot of like sound recording and audio engineering stuff. So yeah, right now I am learning music on my own, but also learning through school. So it's kind of like a good combination of both.
Yeah, I agree. It's passion. Like you already have a passion for it, so going to school for it, like that's no big deal. But do you feel like...
I mean, and a lot of people, parents usually sometimes don't let their kids go to school for music. I was able to like find a program that my parents were convinced by that would give me like a successful career path, because it was like my school has like a really successful program in music.
Yeah.
It's not only music, it's also like very technology based. So you're getting like, you know, the business side of music, but also like a lot of technological stuff, working in a studio, all of that. And so I was able to convince my parents to let me do it, and here I am pursuing my career in music.
Interesting. Do you feel like this program is helping you further your career?
For sure. Like listening to the music that I made before entering and listening to the music that I made now, it's like a completely different like person. I improved. Like I've changed. Like my tastes have changed, my influences have changed, and I've just learned so much. But I haven't only learned it in class, I've also learned from my classmates. I feel like the best thing that this program gave me was not only being in class with good professors, but having awesome classmates. So like my singers in my songs are classmates. Like I'm able to like meet so many like instrument players, like a guitarist, a bassist, like a drummer, like a singer, like a hip hop rapper, like a music producer. All these people that have so many different influences and different tastes within the music industry. We're all coming together into this program and working together all the time.
Yeah.
And that just translates into awesome music. That's why I told you I love to work with so many genres, because I'm exposed to so many different musicians in class. Well, now it's all online, but before in class, and I was able to work with them and combine our genres and come up with some unique creative stuff.
That's interesting. So they definitely provided you a platform where you can network right there.
Not a platform, because it's in person. Like
it's in
actual,
person.
Like,
yeah. You're right.
A space, like a campus where I can connect with all these people.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I have a question for you. I mean, you've already told us that you're collaborating with these different people inside of your class, but as a producer yourself, how did you find placements? Obviously outside of...
Well, so placements for my tracks. So I know a lot of producers produce tracks for other artists. I've done a little bit of that for some of my friends, but mainly a lot of the tracks that I produce are for myself for now, because I really want to build up my career. Maybe in the future I'm going to be producing for others. For now I produce for myself, but I always liked working with others, right? So a lot of the times I'll either find people through my college and literally just like ask some, older people. Sometimes I like to work with older people because they've done more classes, they know more, right? So I get to get some of their knowledge. Or if I would do it through social media, I just like to reach out via like Instagram DMs. I think like some people underestimate the power of reaching out, not in a spammy way. Like anyone that reaches out to me in a spammy way, or like I just feel like they copy paste the same message to everyone.
Yep.
And I say it on my request, that's like an automatic delete. But if someone is genuine and it's like, hey, how are you doing? Like someone that I would text people like, hey, how are you doing? My name is this. I make this kind of music. I would love to connect with you. Just like as a good person, trying to come out as like, with goodwill, good intentions, as a good person, a lot of people check their DMs, and if they see someone genuine, they'll answer. And then, if you just connect with them, see if you vibe with them. A lot of times I'll reach out to someone, ask to maybe hop on a call to get to know them better. And then, if you connect with a person, I just released a song 2 months ago with a producer from Spain, but I actually never met them in person. Mm-hmm. We connected via social media. We hopped on a few calls. We connected, and then a song came out of that. So I feel like reaching out via DM in a smart way was my most successful way of getting placements. But like if I were to be, I think, a beat maker or a producer trying to reach out to sell my beats, I would do it the same way, just being genuine, trying to find someone that I connect with and that I like working with. It's super important that you have good chemistry in the studio, because like, for example, there's this one specific singer that I also released a few songs with called Bela G. And with her, like when her and I go into the studio, like we're so like good working together. We have such good chemistry that we're always super efficient. Yeah. But maybe with other singers, if you're not as efficient, you don't have as good chemistry, like that, it's not going to lead to great, music. So you want to reach out to people, but at the same time, make sure that you feel good with them and you have good chemistry.
Yeah. And I agree with you. A lot of people do underestimate the power of DMing somebody to collaborate. And I think what people don't realize, the biggest issue is sounding like a robot, sounding like they checked a box, just to make it seem like they were reaching out to you, but they weren't very genuine. So
if you're into the game for just selling your beats and making money, like I don't know, I know there's many ways right now with like funneling and all that stuff of cool ways of selling beats. But if you really want to like be a producer and produce for an artist and grow with your artist, you really have to connect on a personal level, right? Yeah. It depends on what kind of producer you want to be. There's people that just want to sell beats and they don't really care who they sell it to. And there's producers that are like, okay, I'm going to get this rapper and I want to grow with them up and kind of like grow, with them and have a direction with them. Then personal connections matter most. So it really depends on but I'm more of that kind of person, right? I want to work with artists and kind of grow together with them. Yeah. Either if I'm making music for myself or for them, that's kind of what I want to do. So that's why for me, connecting on a personal level is so important. Yeah,
I agree. So bring me into Felium at the studio, right? What do you use, right? What do you use for inspiration before you create music? Like, what inspires you? What do you do for inspiration?
Okay, so I feel like listening to other artists, like listening to music inspires me the most. It's just like there's certain types of music that I don't even necessarily make, but just inspire me. So there's certain bands that I have or duos. Like for example, there's this like electronic music duo called Odessa, and they make like feature-based music. Do you know them?
I've never heard of them. No.
They're like, okay, so yeah, they're like this like a DJ duo, and they make like experimental like feature-based music. Feature-based is like a subgenre within EDM. Yeah. Not exactly the direction that I go, but they're super creative, like producers. Their sounds are so well polished, super creative. And I have like a list of like artists that I know are so creative that I can get inspired by. Like with even like, I'll listen to like, even if I'm making like a house beat, I'll still listen to like a hip hop, like Tyler, the Creator, such creative productions. Yeah. I'll listen to him and I'm like, oh, I like how he did that. Let me try and incorporate that into like house. So like listening to music is a big, something big for me. I love collaborating. So I'm all about like, now with COVID, it was harder, but I'm all about like actually meeting people and being in the studio with people. I feel like I work so much better when I'm with someone in the studio and exchanging ideas. And I get very inspired by someone else's idea. Like I'll be working or collaborating on a song with someone else. They come up with an idea, and then suddenly like I understand that idea, that direction, and I'm able to like, work on it and building myself with that person in the studio. I really like that. So I definitely get inspired by also working with others, and then sometimes just going for a walk is also inspiring, but mainly those things that I said. Yeah. And
literally most of the things you said is really helps me. Like I literally have, like you said, a list of artists that I listen to that I take little bits and pieces from that just give me that creative piece, especially when I have like beat block and I really don't know what I'm trying to do as far as the beat, you know what I mean? I have an idea, but just listening to other producers and the way that people are mixing stuff, you kind of just build that ear and that confidence to create something. So,
100%. 100%. At
So
the same time, I'm a social guy. Like I'm not. I can be a geek. Like when I finish music, I'm like a nerd behind the computer, like hours finishing. But at the same time, I'm most of the time a very social guy. So hanging out with people inspires me. So if I'm in a studio with someone, I'm gonna get so much far than if I'm in the studio alone. Like a lot of times, I'll try to make a beat like on a Monday night when I'm alone and I'm just bored and I'm just not inspired. It's I'm tired and I'm bored. I'm just not inspired. But instead, I hang out with someone that I've been wanting to hang out. I haven't maybe seen them in a while. And we get some food, we relax, and then we go in the studio, make a beat, and that really like inspires me.
Yeah, I agree. So you told me that your first DAW was GarageBand, and you made the step up to Logic. I mean, that sounds pretty much like that's what you would do if you were serious about music. GarageBand is literally the next step up. I mean, Logic is the next step up. So why do you use Logic?
So I use Logic because since I learned GarageBand, Logic was the fastest way for me to start making good music and not having to go through the issue of learning a program. Like, because if right now I move into, let's say, Ableton, it's gonna take like a few months for me to learn the program before I can portray my ideas. And I just, to me, I'm the kind of person and I think one of a very like famous like mixing mastering engineer, Italian mixing mastering engineer said that, and he said all DAWs sound the same because they're all digital. It's like when you're talking about analog gear, like analog SSL boards or analog compressors. Yep. Each analog compressor has like a specific character to it, but because all DAWs are digital, their code they all sound the same, right? Yeah. So you're not gonna have a better sounding song making it in FL Studio, in Ableton, Pro Tools, Studio One or Logic. They're all gonna sound the same. So for me, it was a matter of, okay, let me find the program that's gonna let me portray my ideas in the most fast and effective way.
Yeah.
I was coming from GarageBand, so that was the fastest way for me to make music without learning the program was Logic. So that's why I didn't move to. I know a lot of electronic music producers use Ableton, FL Studio. Obviously, is huge. I could have changed, but it was just the fastest way for me to use Logic. Now, in school and as time went by, I've learned all the programs. Like I currently use I know how to use Pro Tools. I know how to use Ableton, and I do my music under Logic. So there's certain programs have some things that others don't, and for example, I love the whole time warping and time stretching of Ableton. Ableton is able to warp audio so much better, and kind of you drag a file and it just puts it out automatically into your BPM. So for making mashups and remixes and stuff like that, sometimes I'll use Ableton, but I mainly use Logic just because it's the fastest way for me to portray my ideas.
I agree. I mean, Logic is very easy on the eyes. It's so easy.
Yeah, it looks sexy as well. The layout looks sexy.
It's to me, Logic is like an iPhone. I mean, I know it's an Apple DAW, and Ableton's like an Android. It's almost a little complicated to really look at and find your way around. But that's cool, man.
The only one that I've never used is FL Studio, because FL Studio was only for Windows until a few years ago, and they got the Mac version. I didn't have a Windows, so that's why. And now I don't feel like I need FL. I use Ableton, Pro Tools, and Logic, but mainly Logic. I'll use Pro Tools for sometimes recording vocals, and apparently they say Pro Tools is better for recording audio, and I understand it because it has a super fast workflow with commands and hotkeys. You don't have to move your mouse so much. It's more about learning the commands, and it's a very fast workflow. At the same time, if you want to be serious about music and you're going to be using real studios and whatever you're based, going to an actual studio, Pro Tools is the standard DAW in most studios around the world. So if you're going to be doing that, you might want to learn Pro Tools. But as I said, Logic is my little baby.
Yep, I agree. I mean, I've heard that for years now. I personally, I've actually used FL Studio on my iPad. They came out with a little iPad version a long time ago. I don't use that anymore. Now I just kind of do standalone, and it's MPC software, but it's a little DAW. But cool, man, interesting. So besides your musical abilities, what else do you think contributed to your music success thus far?
Other than music, other than any of music making, you mean maybe my culture or my background or my roots, stuff like that?
No, I mean obviously your music has got you where you are right now, but do you think maybe the way you marketed yourself, maybe the other things you're doing surrounding your music actually helped you get to where you are now?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, I love collaborating, working with other people and getting inspired by them. So I think reaching out to people, learning from people, and kind of like growing my contact list and my friends within the community and engaging in the community helped me so much. Because if it wouldn't be for other people reaching out to me and me connecting with people, learning from others, I would have, I would have been what I am right now. I feel like I've learned and I've sucked so much knowledge out of so many people that I've been able to meet. I love just like, doing interviews like this, hanging out with people, hopping on Discord chats, hopping on feedback streams, and just learning from others. That's, I feel like, one of the things that have brought me to where I'm at. And also, like, yeah, just, I am from Spain and I'm in college in the US, so I kind of like live in two countries at the same time. I trying to go back home during the summer and come back to the US for school. So like traveling has also helped me so much because you get to like learn different cultures. That's what I was saying earlier. Like the fact that I know the Spanish culture and because I'm Spanish and I'm learning the American culture by just living here, I've been able to kind of like see how people react there and here, and you learn the culture, and that also affects my music. Like I feel like I definitely have like more like American influences in my music than I used to before. Like I used to like just have like that like European house type sound, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like French house, or like French producers have Spanish producers, the Netherlands. Like there's a very like specific like house scene there. But coming to the US kind of gave me a different perspective, like rock, hip hop, like folk music, stuff like that. That also like contributed to what I'm at, like just like meeting people from different cultures.
Yeah, I was wondering. So yeah, you grew up in Spain, and is EDM huge over there? EDM and house, those like the two thriving genres over there right now?
Well, pop, American pop, like Hollywood and all of that, it's still like, the what's played in the radio. Like you go in the radio and you like the mainstream radio still play, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, like The Weeknd, all these pop guys. But there's a lot more like EDM and house culture, much more than, for example, hip hop.
Yeah.
But right now, like the hip hop of Spain, particularly, not Europe, but Spain is Latin music and reggaeton.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, because that it's similar to kind of like Latin America. There's a lot of Spanish reggaeton and Latin artists, and it's Spanish music. And essentially, someone in Spain doesn't speak English can relate more to a Spanish lyric than an English lyric, right? So the biggest genres for people that there's a huge like electronic music scene. So yes, it's huge, but at the same time, reggaeton, Latin music is also growing a lot. Like if you go into like Spanish charts right now, you'll find like so many Spanish songs, almost more Spanish songs than American songs. Obviously, you'll find the big songs like pop mainstream, but there's a lot of Latin influences as well.
Interesting. So you have this. You're working on this new platform called MuzeAmp. Is that what it's called?
MuzeAmp, yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about this.
So, as I said, I love working with people, collaborating with people. So MuzeAmp started as basically, I wanted to. I'm a very creative person, so I'm always like in music, but I'm also outside of music, also in business. So like entrepreneurship is something that have always intrigued me, like being able to fund create a business on your own. So I've always had like that mindset, and also creating an artist brand, by the way, is also like creating almost like a business, because you gotta figure out a way to make money in the end, right? But I also wanted to create like some sort of business somehow, and I was thinking of maybe things that I could contribute into the music industry that maybe that aren't in place yet. And me and my friends basically within college came up with this idea of creating like a place where all up and coming and talented artists would go to get all the resources they need to succeed in the music industry. Oh, wow. So what happens? There's so many talented artists that have talent, make awesome beats, but they don't have the resources or the knowledge to be able to put out a song and have it be successful. Like beginning on like songwriting, many producers don't even know how to like actually, they can make a beat, but they might not even know how to make an actual arrangement.
Yeah.
But even then, like professional mixing and mastering can be very tricky. And then when it comes to marketing, being able to put your song out there and be legally protected, being able to make the money. You being registered for royalties, all of that is a lot of work that many up and coming artists don't necessarily know. being able to create a social media strategy, having a social media brand, having a sound. Many producers make beats, but they don't necessarily have a direction. So you see all of those resources, all of these things that like professional artists have because they have a huge team behind them. We're kind of just providing up and coming artists that team, and we have a team of 3 music producers and 3 marketing agents, including a graphic designer, and that's like the whole point. We're just launching our website very soon. You can follow us on Instagram to know more, but we're currently offering free content right now. But we're going to be launching our website, and through our website, people can come to us, and we're a professional team of songwriters, producers, engineers, marketing agents, graphic designers, kind of like working with so many talented artists and giving them the resources they need. So like essentially a producer or artist could come to us with a really cool idea, and we could make that cool idea into a professional track with original vocals, for example. We could create a professional marketing campaign behind it and a professional brand behind it. And suddenly out of this talented artist, professional brand.
Interesting. What a well put together idea. Now, did you think of this yourself or?
Well, I had like a rough idea of creating, because here's the thing, right? Just because I was able to be in college, I was able to meet so many people that have some knowledge in so many different aspects. I felt like by connecting to those, I had a lot of these resources, and I was like, not so many people are lucky enough to be able to meet those people to give them those resources themselves. So I was like, what if we create a place where like a talented artist should be able to have, those resources. Sorry for saying resources 3 million times. But then I immediately knew that we had to create a team behind it. Like it wasn't something I could pull off on my own, because I really wanted to be like well crafted and professional, and I really wanted to provide artists with what they really deserve. So that's why I created a team, and then with the whole team we were able to develop that whole like plan. So we have different packages. Obviously we're going to be working with different budgets, right? So if we have a lower budget, you're not going to be able to maybe create a professional marketing campaign behind it, because that takes a lot of our time and money. But we can help you with simpler stuff, right? So we're going to be working with people that have maybe a budget that is under $50. But if someone actually has a good budget, they can spend a couple hundreds, if not thousands. Then you have a full team kind of like behind you, working for months to get you to a professional place and to get you to succeed. So that's how we came up with it. With our team, we had a lot of meetings with our team, and we wanted to create a place that we all felt was really valuable for our client.
Wow, man! Congrats!
Thank you. Yeah.
Love it.
So yeah, if anyone like thinks this could be something that would work for them and would want, like, I don't know who wouldn't, right? But if you're an artist and you want a team to help you with anything that you're missing, first of all, you can follow us on Instagram. We post free content, literally 4 or 5 times a week. So that's already something that it takes a half a second, and will already help you getting free content. And then if you want to check our website, we give 15-minute free consultation calls. So like you can literally talk to our team for free and see if we're a good fit for you, because we may understand that we might not be a good fit for you. We want to make sure that we are. So we offer free consultation calls to guide you through the best service.
Cool, man. Cool. I'll definitely have to check this out. And
I'll send you the link.
When's the release date?
So we're launching the beta version. We're still working on some legal stuff and some logistics, figuring out the website and finishing out the website and stuff. But it's really around the corner. We're going to be launching the beta version, and the goal with the beta version is we're going to be putting out the services much cheaper than they are actually worth, just because we want to test them, right? So we're going to have some of our first clients, working with them and kind of using them as a test, giving them cheaper prices in exchange of feedback. And so that's going to be the beta version. It's going to be out end of April, probably beginning of May. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll get an exact date that we're going to be releasing soon. But we're going to be launching our beta version and working with some people. So I think if this sounds like something you're listening, or even you, if this sounds something that you could be interested about, hop on it right now while we're in beta version. So, you can almost be a part of the business by giving us feedback and directly affecting how we evolve.
Yeah, cool, man. I think that's a well thought out idea, and I'm excited to see what this is going to be like, and for sure. And one more question before I go and listen to your song. What are 3 tips for do you have for other emerging producers, or even producers that are artists as well, what are three things that
Uh-huh.
you could definitely give them as some advice?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I'm also learning. So these tips that I know, I don't think that I'm some sort of like guru or
Yeah, yeah.
specialist. I'm also learning still. But some tips that I would give, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I love connecting with people. And
Yeah.
connecting with people is what really made me go from this kid in my bedroom to making music with people around the world. So reach out to so many artists and connect with them. Literally, if you have an artist, like even if they're famous, that you really look up to, and if it's Martin Garrix and you slide in his DMs, you probably are not going to get a response. But if you have like maybe smaller artists with like thousands of followers that you look up to, reach out to them, send them a DM telling them how much you appreciate them and ask them for help. A lot of the times you even get like people that are verified to answer to your DMs and help you. So don't be scared to reach out, even if it's like bigger artists that you might not 100% maybe know. Reach out. That's the first thing. All right. So that was number one, right? Reaching out to people. I would say number two would be to spend a lot of time making music. Like literally, I in my opinion, I had to like, and I've seen this number, and I'm gonna say a specific number right now, but I've seen this actually. A lot of people would agree. You have to at least finish 10 songs. You have to be able to finish 10 songs until you maybe have a song that you're kind of proud about. Like a lot of producers will start a lot of projects but not finish songs. Make sure that you make a lot of music but finish a lot of music, even if you aren't happy with it or you're gonna just throw it in the trash. Finishing music will help you learn so much, because it's kind of like whenever like you're learning piano and you play a piece from the beginning and then you make a mistake and then you go back from the beginning, you make a mistake, you go back from the beginning, you're going to learn that beginning but you're not going to learn that end. Making music is the same way. You make like coming up with melodies and all that stuff, it's cool, and everyone, and you're going to come up with so many more ideas when you finish. But finishing music, mastering and mixing, all of that you have to practice that almost as much. So even if you have the crappiest song, mix it, finish it, throw it in the trash, but it already counts as one song that you finished. And if you're able to fully finish 10 songs, regardless of the genre that you're doing, it doesn't sound like that much, but it actually is. 10 songs require a lot of work. After the 10th song, you're gonna start seeing so much improvement. And if you finish 20 songs, that 21st song, that's probably even gonna be maybe almost professional sounding, especially because you've been learning throughout the whole process. Obviously, try to learn after every song, right? But yeah, make a lot of sometimes quantity over quality. Even not only on music, like on your brand, like posting content is so important. Being consistent is so important, even if the content is not good in the beginning. But what will happen is by consistency and quantity, quality will come indirectly. If you look for quality in the beginning, you're not going to have consistency, and then you're never going to get picked up. You're never going to be able to algorithms in brands need a lot of content to pick you up. So quantity over quality, I guess, would be the second. And the third one, really here pushing my limits, trying to figure out a third one. I would say if you're making melodic music and you like melodic components of music, open your mind, learn music theory, maybe learn how to play an instrument, maybe learn keys, because a lot of producers will say, like, there's so many famous EDM producers literally playing on Tomorrowland that don't even know music theory, don't even know how to play a key, like keys. They don't know, literally. And you can get there. But all these people that don't know are incredibly talented and have such good ear. They have something called perfect pitch, maybe, or they have such a good ear where they maybe don't need it. And if you maybe don't have that good of an ear and you really want to get into melody, learn a little bit of music theory, learn a little bit of keys, because a lot of music right now that is programmed sounds too robotic, too digital, too programmed. Adding a human feel into your songs is very important and can really boost you. So if you're able to learn piano, even if you use a MIDI keyboard like this one right here, right, like this one, just playing it out instead of program it with your mouse will add a human feel. And if you play guitar, you play bass, you play saxophone, you sing, adding that human element to your songs will really, add a lot. And then in terms of music theory, when I learned music theory, I was able to just come up with melodies so much faster because you understand how keys work, you understand how chord progressions work, you understand how melodies tell a story and what direction to bring each melody. And in the beginning, it might be a little boring to learn it, but in the end, you're going to see how quickly you can make your workflow faster. Because if you're trying to come up with a melody and trying to pick random notes and you don't even know what note is in the right key, and then you're like just picking notes, you might not even know what sounds good or bad. So at this point, you might even be making songs that are not in the right key.
Yeah.
You know, like I was listening to this old beat that I made really in the beginning, and I didn't even know music theory back then. So I had my build up in a different key than my drop. So it just sounded so bad.
Yeah.
You know, like part of my song was in a different key. And learning that really helped me. So I guess summarizing the 3 key points, it would be connecting with people and learning from people that know more than you. Like that's quote, always be the least talented person in the room. Try and always surround yourself with so talented people so you can learn from them. The second would be, if you want to put in a quote, quantity over quality. And through quantity, quality will come because you're going to do so much, quality will come. And the third one is like, especially if you want to get into music, like melodies and more melodic music, learn an instrument or music theory or maybe some of them, you know, more classical ways of learning music instead of just making beats or programming beats. Yeah,
I agree with all 3 of those. Felium, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on.
Kidding me? Thank you so much. I had so much fun and it was good to talk to you. I'm nervous that you're going to be listening to my track for the first time.
Yeah, man. So Undercomplicate.
I wonder what you're going to say. Yeah, Undercomplicate.
I can see that this single is doing well for you, so I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah. There's an acoustic version of it as well, so feel free to listen to that if you want to. We put those out. Just to give you like a quick summary of the song, or like a few sentences of the song. We came up with this whole theme called Undercomplicate. It's not a word in the dictionary, but we came up with this song, right? A lot of people overcomplicate. And we wanted to create like a summer feel-good song that would remind listeners, especially during these times in COVID, when so many things maybe aren't going in the best ways that they could, learning to undercomplicate, live life and go with the flow, right? So that's kind of like the whole theme of the song. And the singer comes from like a singer-songwriter, raw, like acoustic sound type of music, and I come from like melodic house. So we combined those into what I think was a very beautiful, easy song to listen to. I feel like the vibe of the song really follows the message of the lyric. So enjoy.
All right, I'm excited. Y'all heard it, ladies and gentlemen. What's your Instagram so I can go tell everybody to go follow you?
_Felium_, and that's because someone else took Felium as their Instagram page, so I couldn't use Felium. So
it's like, damn, Instagram.
Felium. Someone took the name, you know. So _Felium_.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard it. All right, Felium, I'm gonna go check out your song Undercomplicate. Thanks for taking the time to do this, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Let's put it on. This is Undercomplicate by Felium.
I spend too much time in my own damn head, overthinking all the things we left unsaid. You've been saying loosen up, baby, now's the time to be stupid crazy. Drop the worries, focus on me instead. Tired of taking it slow, I'm done waiting. Let's go where you lead, I'll follow. Let's undercomplicate. Let's undercomplicate. Let's undercomplicate. Undercomplicate. Watching as the stress just fades away. Now it's time to undercomplicate. It's looking at the stars, nothing but the sound of our beating hearts. I can't count how many times I said no because I'm worried that things won't go my way, but I'm willing to play the part. I'm not taking it slow, I'm not waiting. Let's go where you lead, I'll follow. Let's
was Felium, Undercomplicated, with the vocalist, artist, Kiera Dillon. I'm going to say right off the bat, that was the most professional sounding EDM music I have listened to in such a long time. Felium is when talent meets hard work. Like, definitely. All the sounds were so smooth sounding. If you're the one who mixed this track and produced this track, I can already tell you, you're going to have a career in music. I don't have the credentials to tell you that. All I can say is I personally enjoyed your track to the fullest. Undercomplicate. I love the melodies. I love the little things you did as a producer. Outside the vocals, you helped the vocals with the little horn in there, and whatever you did with that, with the it was a vocoder, I'm not sure, but it sounded so well. It went from like mono to stereo. Felium, I really love the track. There you guys have it. That was Felium, Undercomplicate. Yeah, it looks like we have reached the end of this episode. If you guys have not yet, please follow me on Instagram at Breck Latney On Air. For those audio listeners, BreckLatneyOnair. Y'all have a good night. Peace.